Join us as we dive into the history, hauntings, and high strangeness of the world to try to better understand the paranormal. I will be your guide. I am paranormal researcher and investigator Eric Freeman-Sims. Welcome to the Unseen Paranormal Podcast. Hey everybody, Eric here. We are back with another episode of Paranormal News and Views. And I have a new co-host. I have Mr. Lee from Medics for Paranormal. Hey, Lee.
Hey, Eric.
Lee is going to be my new co-host for this every week. Try to put an episode out every Monday. The regular show, where I interview guests, will be back in mid-September. But until then, we'll be giving you the paranormal news and views, and we will continue it once I start season 3 as well. So, Lee, do you want to give a little background on yourself for people who aren't familiar with you, even though you've been on the show quite a few times?
Well, my name is Lee. I'm a co-founder for Medics for Paranormal. We specialize in doing paranormal investigations for residences and businesses. Also, we do special events for, just for the public who actually want to come out and experience what we get to experience. It's been kind of a wild ride, but really had some good evidence, really progressing. I'm a paramedic also by trade, which is where Medics for Paranormal came into view. I've been a paramedic for 12 years. It pretty much brings us up to date. I mean, aside from that, I'm a pretty boring existence.
Whatever.
Well,
if anybody else wants to know more about you and hear some stories, they can go back and listen to the episodes with you and Paula from Medics for Paranormal. We've done a few. We got a few events coming up. We're doing Thomas House, with those tickets are sold out August 19th and 20th. So we'll be at the Thomas House in Rebel Springs, Tennessee, doing an investigation, which will be a lot of fun with probably a bunch of amateur people, which is cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a good investigation. We're really proud that sold out. Just looking forward to that one. And also, we have a Paracon coming up in October 22nd. It's going to be at the Wilson County Fairgrounds. It's going to be a one-day event. Tickets are on sale now. You can go to our Medics for Paranormal Facebook page, Medics for Paranormal, the number 4. Also, we're doing that with Eric here, and also PPF Investigations. So what we're going to be doing is just, we got a lot of different venues coming out, a lot of different paranormal teams. They're going to bring their evidence. We're going to have guest speakers, just making the whole day about the paranormal right there before Halloween. So every single bit is going to charity. We're going to be picking a location here in Tennessee that needs possibly some financial help, a haunted location. That's going to be half of the proceeds, and the other half is going to actually go to Senior Dog Shelter, who specialize in giving the furry guys a place to be happy again. But it's like I said, Eric, it's on October 22nd.
Yeah, and that's at the Wilson County Fairgrounds in Lebanon, Tennessee. Here in Middle Tennessee, if you're in the area.
About 30 miles from Nashville.
All right, tickets are affordable. Come on out and hang out with us. The Unseen Paranormal Podcast will be the featured podcast. I'll also be there up on stage speaking about some haunted stuff and my experiences in the paranormal. There'll be also some other awesome speakers there as well. Lots of
food there.
Yeah, food vendors, just a day of fun for the entire family. And you can bring your kids out if they're interested in the paranormal and buy some swag. There'll be people there selling crystals and the whole lot.
Bring your ghost stories.
Yeah, we want to hear your stories. Come tell us your stories, and as well as us telling you ours. But that's October 22nd. That is on a Saturday. So make plans to do that. And like Lee said, you can go to the Medics number 4 Paranormal Facebook page and find the link for the tickets there. And then PBF Investigations was actually just featured on the new show Conjuring Kesha in episode number 2 with the famous pop star Kesha. She's doing a paranormal show, but PBS Investigations, and we've actually been to that location, Antoinette Hall, where she shot that. Have you watched that episode?
I have not. I have not got to see it yet. I talked to Regina about it. She said they've gotten some great feedback on it. I'm looking forward to seeing it, and just especially like you just said, being at Antoinette Hall, that's an amazing location.
Well, it's kind of neat also knowing that we've investigated there before any TV show ever went there. That's kind of cool. That we kind of got the jump on them, but I'm not. The show's okay, I guess. I'm not. I liked it because I know the people that were on there, Regina and PPF, and it was at a location I'm familiar with. But as far as Kesha hunting for the paranormal, I don't know about all that. But if y'all like it, watch it. Just know it's entertainment. Like all the other ghost shows. All right, you ready to get into some paranormal news and topics, Lee?
Yeah, bring it on.
All right. The first one's here in Middle Tennessee, actually comes out of Clarksville. And this actually just aired on the local news station the other night. And it's funny, you always hear about these towns having these old laws and things that are still in the books and nobody knows about. And that's what this is. So Clarksville is considering repealing of strict rules for fortune tellers. So apparently back in the 80s, the city council enacted rules against psychics and fortune tellers operating within their city. And the city code requires a practicing fortune teller to have been a Tennessee resident for 10 years, a Clarksville resident for 2 years. It also requires a fortune teller to have a college degree and have a clean bill of health from a Montgomery County doctor, which Montgomery County is the county that Clarksville's in. And now the city council member is drafting up a repeal, which is going to be reviewed this week. But this all came about because there's this lady and her husband who opened a little store, and it's called Bubble and Brews. And she is a self-proclaimed witch, and she does tarot card readings. And she found out that she wasn't allowed to do tarot card readings. But this little place serves like different kind of teas and all natural stuff and like hot dogs and things like that. But
so they're actually going to vote on the repeal.
Yeah. It was a 1986 footnote that directed what fortune tellers in the city could do. Fortune tellers, like anybody that opens up shop as a medium or like she just wants to read oracle cards and tarot for people. So now they're trying to repeal it so that she don't have to go through all these hoops and just to give somebody a tarot reading.
Well, I mean, it makes me wonder what happened to actually make that law go into effect anyway. I mean,
right.
Does it say anything about it?
It does not. It just gives the rules and stuff. And it says that they discovered a 1986 footnote in the city code. So yeah, I'm wondering if there was like an influx of, psychic shops, maybe some charlatans taking people's money or something. And so the city council decided to actually enact some laws. But I thought that ordinance is weird because it says, for one, you got to have a college degree and you have to have a clean bill of health from a Montgomery County doctor. So they want to make sure that you're mentally sound, I guess. But also, what's up with the resident requirements? You have a resident of Tennessee for 10 years and Clarksville for 2 years.
Yeah, that don't make any sense to me at all. I mean, because you're going to be a psychic whether you're here or wherever.
Well, and it's also not like in 1986, there was an influx of fucking gypsies, rolling their caravans through town. I mean, that's like, 1800 shit. That's not 1986. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm wondering why they came up with this, but I thought it was interesting. The fact that it's in our neck of the woods in Middle Tennessee it's pretty interesting.
Well, I think it's just amazing that there's actually a city ordinance, a law, that involves the paranormal.
Right.
Period.
Right. Yeah, I'd be curious to see any more about this and see if I can find anything of why they did it. But even the council member if you go look at the interview from News Channel 5, even the council member on there that has drafted up the repeal, she doesn't understand it either. So
I would love to sit in on that vote because I know they're going to discuss it.
Yeah, so I think it's just one of those things that's probably lost the time of why they actually did it. I mean, you've got stupid laws everywhere, all over the United States. Yeah, but
they're not drafted up about the paranormal in the 80s.
Well, I know that, but you still got laws on the books like you can't chew chewing gum and walk on the sidewalk or some stupid shit like that. Like there's all kind of laws like that.
You can't kill a whale in Oklahoma.
Yeah. I mean, so it doesn't mean that modern times we don't have stupid laws too.
Touche.
Our next story here: an Oklahoma man is accused of killing fishermen out of fear of being eaten by Bigfoot. So this happened in Oklahoma, and this guy went out noodling with his friend, and he says that he killed his friend out of fear of being left alone to be eaten by Bigfoot. This guy, man, this dude's a mess. He's 53. Larry Doyle Sanders, 53, made the bizarre confession to two special agents with the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation on Sunday as they probed the death of Jimmy Glenn Knighton. And so they arrested him for suspicion of first-degree murder. So this is what the guy claimed. This is quotes. This is from the actual report from the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. Larry, who's the guy who killed the other guy, claimed that while at the river, he discovered Jimmy intended to feed him to Sasquatch/Bigfoot. The affidavit said, Larry indicated Jimmy attempted to get away from him so that the Sasquatch could eat Larry. Larry would not let Jimmy get away. Larry punched Jimmy and struck Jimmy with a stick. Larry and Jimmy fought for an extended amount of time on the ground. Larry confirmed he killed Jimmy by choking him to death near the river.
So he was going to offer Jimmy to Bigfoot to save his own ass.
Yeah, apparently. Well, he's claiming that Jimmy was going to leave him to be eaten by Bigfoot, but he decided otherwise.
Wow, that just brings up more questions than answers.
So the way that he got caught was apparently deputies were alerted to Jimmy's death on Saturday by the mother of Sanders' daughter, who said her daughter claimed Sanders had killed Sanders' Larry. So the mother of Larry's daughter, she said her daughter claimed that Larry had killed Jimmy. So apparently he had told his daughter about it, and she told her mom, and her mom called the police on him.
So I mean, did they have the body?
Yeah, they went out and found him next to the river where they were noodling. And anybody that doesn't know what noodling is, it's catching catfish with your hands. It's a weird, fucked up Southern thing, I guess. Well, I guess not. This is out in Oklahoma. I guess it's spread.
Yeah, Midwest.
You don't have to live in the South to be a redneck.
Got that right. We're spreading all over the place. But anyway, it's just you telling me that story. I mean, I've heard paranormal stories also in the past. That kind of relate to that. I read this story. It was about a Wendigo, and it was pretty much the same thing. If they didn't like you or if you pissed off the people in the town, they will tie you up and sacrifice you to the Wendigo just to calm the beast, just to satisfy his appetite, and he'll leave everybody else alone.
Right.
So it's not the first time I'd heard something like that, and that's why I find it very fascinating.
Yeah, and then you also had, like, a couple of years ago, those two little girls that lured their friend out in the woods and tried to stab her to death.
Oh, I forgot about that, yes.
Because the Slender Man told him to do it.
Yeah, I forgot about that one as well.
With that, you get into, like, that makes me question, did they bring the Slender Man to life as, like, a tulpa, like a thought form? Because both the little girls claimed to be talking to Slender Man. Slender Man came from Reddit as just a story, and fortunately, the little girl that they tried to stab to death, unfortunately, she lived. But they both claimed Slender Man told them to do it. So yeah, there's all kinds of stories like that. Like you're talking about the Wendigo, and then even going back to like the witch trials. People just being accused of being witches. It's
been going on for decades, centuries.
Yeah, but I just wonder is this guy schizophrenic? Why did he just flip his shit and think that, his friend was going to leave him to be eaten by Bigfoot? So he was like, no, I'm going to leave you.
But I don't know. But, think about so many other stories where people, they get something in their head like that. Amityville Horror, prime example.
Right.
The original DeFeo family.
Yeah.
So it just makes you wonder, like you said, what made him flip his shit all of a sudden?
Yeah. It's just...
Or did he see something or know something the rest of us in the world don't? I don't know.
Yeah, and if he hadn't told on himself, then, might be a missing person out there. Here's a little story that I found interesting about a haunted Airbnb. So these people stayed at this Airbnb, and they got up and left at 4 o'clock in the morning, checked out at 4 o'clock in the morning, and when they went and told the owner that they were leaving, they only stayed there the one night. And when they went to the owner they're leaving, she asked them why. And they said that they kept hearing somebody walk up and down the stairs all night, and it was keeping them awake. And then the power went out. Well, the power to the neighbor's house was still on. So there's no reason why the power in that house should have went out. And this is a ranch style 1-story house that doesn't have any stairs. Until, well, it gets even better. The owner of the Airbnb, you can go watch this video on TikTok. She goes down into the basement, and it has like a cellar. Like you have to go outside, with the 2 doors you open outside, and this little bitty concrete staircase going down there, because she was going to flip the breakers back on to see if that's what caused the power to go out. When she goes down there live on the TikTok video, she's like filming herself, because she's like, if something happens to me, if I die going down this basement, I want y'all to, this to be the evidence. And so when she goes down into the basement, she actually finds a set of stairs. And she said that the people are laying in bed, and where these stairs go actually would have come out in the closet in that bedroom where the people were trying to sleep, and they kept saying that they heard somebody going up and down the stairs.
Oh, wow, no shit.
Yeah, so I just found that an interesting little story.
Yeah, book a room there for the night.
Well, and that's what the article that I found went on to say, hopefully this actually helps her Airbnb business and not, hurts it. Because there's definitely plenty of people like us out there that would specifically go to this Airbnb to see if it's haunted.
Yeah, exactly. Airbnbs, hotels, man, they're all hot.
So back to cryptids. Fossil find tantalizes Loch Ness monster fans. This is an article from the New York Times. So a lot of people believe the Loch Ness monster is a plesiosaur, which is was a big dinosaur with flippers, basically, that lived in the ocean. They could grow up to 40 feet long, so the size of a fucking school bus. And supposedly they died out, in the Jurassic era. Well, now they have discovered some pretty intact skeletons pretty far up in some big rivers. So people are now saying that because they found these bones in fresh water, that could prove the existence of Nessie. What do you think about the Loch Ness monster?
Well, I love that theory right there, but a lot of the tales and everything came after the Jurassic period, So it just really makes me wonder. I'm sure there's some truth to that. I really do, because that makes a lot of sense. Just, finding the whole skeletal remains. But like I said, a lot of the legends and the tales, like in Loch Ness, that came a long way after the Jurassic period. So,
oh, yeah.
It just, the story handed down from basically the caveman, I guess you might say, or back during the dinosaur days. I don't know. I don't know. It's just trying to wrap my head around it,
Well, Loch Ness actually attaches to a river that runs out to the ocean. So a lot of people theorize that it's some sort of, because you got sharks that can come into fresh water, like bull sharks are notorious for being miles and miles up into rivers. And people have actually been bitten by bull sharks in a river. And at first the scientists were like, well, that's impossible. And then they finally found out that no, there are ocean animals that can come up into fresh water. Dolphins and some whales can even come up into fresh water and are fine for a period of time. So what a lot of people theorize is that the Loch Ness monster is something that actually comes from the ocean, comes up this river and comes into Loch Ness at certain times of year to feed or whatever. And but a lot of people think it's a plesiosaur. So I guess if you're in that camp, this would add fuel to your beliefs, I guess.
Well, it's not just in Loch Ness. I remember reading a story in Lake Erie about Lake Erie. There were sightings of a lake monster there called Bessie.
Yeah.
And that dates back to the 1700s itself. So, it's not confined to one lake. And what I find amazing about that is because, the Great Lakes are landlocked. There's nothing going out to seawater for that.
Right. Yeah, and Loch Ness is not the only sea, like lake monster, river monster. There are quite a few. You could check out, some of the, like, Lyle Blackburn's books. He talks a lot about it. Chad Lewis has some books about some lake monsters up in the Midwest, Minnesota, and up in that area. And also, why am I blanking on his name? Ken Gerhardt. Ken Gerhardt also. A bunch of those cryptozoologists, they've done a lot of they've taken a lot of eyewitness accounts of different lake and river monsters. But, Loch Ness, for whatever reason, has captures people's attention for a long, long time. And there have been more than 1,100 sightings at Loch Ness, including 4 this year. And I know also there's some more evidence not too long ago. This might have been last summer, that the captain of one of the boats that takes people out to tour Loch Ness and looking for Nessie. It's a huge boat. Loch Ness is like 1,000 foot deep and like 5 miles across. It's a big ass lake.
Yeah.
But they take this big boat out with all these tourists looking for Nessie, kind of, putting around the loch. But on sonar, the captain saw a massive sonar signature of something like 30 feet long. And there's nothing that they know that lives in the loch that's that big. And also they're saying that, with a sonar signature like that, it would be rare that would be, you're not going to have a log that big either, of a tree that's fallen and sunken. So, but yeah, Loch Ness keeps coming back up in the paranormal news world with cryptids. Like I said, there are already 4 sightings this year. It's definitely intriguing.
What else you got?
Amazon's new invention could let you speak to the dead. So
you told me about this. This is great.
Yeah, so they just had a artificial intelligence conference a few weeks ago, and so basically what this is it's a chat bot, but you can take a minute of somebody's voice and it can mimic that person's voice and say whatever you want it to say. So they have this weird demo of it at this artificial intelligence conference, where this little boy says, "Grandma, can you finish reading The Wizard of Oz?" And he says it to Alexa, so it works with Amazon Alexa. And I'm sorry if anybody has one of those, and I just set it off because if you're listening to this in your house. But
hey Alexa, sorry, I had to do it once.
Yeah, but so it says okay in the artificial voice, and then a second later, a different voice comes out of the machine, more human sounding, but it's a AI generated replication of the kid's dead grandma's voice. And what they said is that, talking about it, one of the senior vice president from Amazon explained that the voice was generated using less than a minute of a recording of the grandma's actual voice. So, for one, that's just fucking creepy.
That just creeps the shit out of me, yes.
And two, I'm worried about what else you could do with it. You could mimic anybody's voice and make it say whatever you wanted.
Good Lord. Yeah, that's just wrong on a lot of levels. I'm sorry. I just don't agree with that.
Yeah, and I could even see Hollywood like resurrecting in a way, like dead actors and putting them in movies, because they have the technology now to replace your face with somebody else's, right?
True.
And so now if they can just mimic your voice, then who's to say they couldn't take, like, I don't know, John Wayne and put him in a brand new Western, even though he's been dead for 20 years,
Yeah, but I just think about, all the illegal activity that could be done with this as well. I mean, just so much that could go wrong.
Right. The AI shit just kind of scares me anyway. There was another story, I don't have it pulled up here, but there's another story I saw this week too, that a Google engineer came out into the media. He's on administrative leave. Google got mad because he came out and said this, but they have a artificial intelligent robot that this guy is saying has become sentient, which is fucking scary because that's like Skynet Terminator shit.
Right.
That this robot knows that it's alive and that it's its own separate entity and being. Yeah, the AI, artificial intelligence, is just getting crazy.
Okay, the paramedics coming out of me for a second. I'm thinking about all the behavioral and psychiatric issues that are going to come out of this. I mean, just the possibilities are endless, and that's not a good thing.
Well, and also I think it doesn't. Okay, so if we'll go back to Amazon and this AI stuff, it wouldn't allow people to get closure. I mean, I don't think talking to your dead relative all the time, even though it's not your dead relative, but having an artificial intelligence that can mimic them and sound like them, that's not healthy. That's not like healthy. You can't grieve. You can't. You know what I'm saying? It's weird.
No, I don't have Alexa. I have a Google Home, and I'll be honest with you, and this is gonna. I hate to even say this. If I get bored, I'll tell it to tell me a joke, or I'll say, just try to get a response out of the thing. I just can't imagine doing that if you can actually hear the voice of somebody that's already going. I cannot even fathom how people are going to like. I mean, you're right on the money. People getting closure and dealing with it. Not putting the past and forgetting it, but putting the past in the past and moving on. It's not going to let you.
Yeah, and like I've even seen where people have held on to like voicemails of a passed on relative or friend for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's healthy either. I think you need to. Mm-hmm. I mean, we miss our loved ones or whatever, but you kind of got to move on and live life and not hold on to that person still. I think also. I don't think maybe me and you, Lee, are the people to be given like advice on death and stuff, because I think from the business that we both worked in for a long, long time, we come from a different view of death in a way.
Yes.
We've also learned how to deal with it in a different way. And I know for me, I'm not going to speak for you, but I know for me, it's kind of made me a little more callous.
It has. It absolutely has.
Yeah, a bit more matter of fact and a bit callous towards death. Just because working in emergency medicine, you see so much of it that I think that's a defense mechanism for one.
You have to. I mean, otherwise it'll eat you up.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people, they think I've got the coldest heart, the cruelest sense of humor ever was. But, when you get a bunch of EMS people together, it's not callous. It's, like you said, it's coping.
Yeah, very much coping, and sometimes you got to laugh to keep from crying, and so we kind of developed this fucked up sense of humor to deal with the crazy shit that we signed up to deal with. So.
Yeah, and working in EMS, it does. I have learned that it does bring you closer to the paranormal side as well.
Yeah.
You're working very close to death, and you're fighting death. I mean, honestly, you are fighting death.
Yeah, a big question that I always get is, what in my medical career did I experience that was paranormal? And I'm like, where do I begin? I mean, so much, because like you're saying, you're so close to death and dying all the time that I know everybody that I know that works in the medical field, which is a lot of people, a lot of my friends, they all have paranormal stories, many of them.
It's amazing. When I first started paranormal investigating, everybody that I work with has a story. You're exactly right. Everybody has a story that it works in as a first responder. And I notice a lot of people, they come to me with it, and they'll tell me their story because they know I'm not going to judge them. They know that I'm not going to call them crazy, because I've had enough experiences to where I know that everybody's going to have their own experiences. When I started investigating, somebody told me, they said, just get ready. You're going to notice a lot more paranormal than you ever did before. And they were so right.
Well, I think it's crazy because I got into medicine when I was 18. I started working in a nursing home as a nurse tech, and I'd never realized or even thought or fathomed how working in the field for 20 years would change my views and my beliefs on a lot of things. Because I very much went into, when I was 18, 19, I was pretty much atheist, and it kind of shaped my views to be more agnostic and believe in something beyond us, because I've seen too much shit that I can't explain, that only something beyond us and things that we can't see would explain, like
exactly.
And never become religious, because I've just never been that type of person. But and I respect people who are religious. If you are, that's great. I mean, whatever works for you. But agnosticism works for me. But it's just crazy how it changed my views on not just religion but death and dying, and like I said, being a little more callous towards that stuff, to where, like you're saying, we come off a little bit like assholes about it, but we don't mean to be. It's just we've experienced it more than most people.
It's the way of dealing with the daily life of a responder.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how it changes you, what that old saying, seeing is believing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
In lighter news.
Yeah. Well, that went down the rabbit hole real quick.
Yeah. Sorry to bring everybody down, but, it is what it is. In lighter news, I hate this so much. I hate it so much. Zach Baggins, his demon house.
Do I know him? Oh, good Lord. Not personally.
Yeah, but he bought that demon house in Indiana.
Oh, yeah, with Gary, Indiana.
Yeah. Well, he also tore it down, and you can buy pieces of it, little pieces of wood, in his Las Vegas museum.
I did not know that. I knew he had some articles on the house on display.
No, you can actually buy.
I knew he had the staircase in there with the dirt that was underneath it.
You can actually buy a little piece of the house, probably for $50 or some crazy shit, so he can make some money. But that's not the story I'm talking about. That's just a little side note, because I think it's fucking ridiculous. They are making a Demon House movie for Netflix. Netflix has bought the rights, and it's going to have a bunch of big stars in it. I know I saw Meryl Streep is going to be in it. And my first thing was, how much is this douchebag Zach Baggins making off this movie when they bought the rights to do the movie? Because he bought the house and everything, unless they bought the rights from the family. I don't know how that works.
Okay, I don't know who else seen the Zach Baggins production of the Demon House, but I have seen it. I've got my own views and opinions on it. I didn't really care for it. But anyway, it was telling in there that he was actually arguing with a production company, so I would be willing to bet that it was through him. Because when he bought the house, he bought everything from the house's past.
Yeah, and like, I want everybody to know, I dislike him because he's in this for the money. The TV show,
he is a sensationalist, that's right.
All of it is for money. He doesn't give a fuck about the paranormal world. He hasn't furthered the paranormal world in any way, shape, or form, other than maybe more people being aware of it. He's not a paranormal investigator.
But he gives a false sense of reality as far as what the paranormal entails.
Right. And people, what's the biggest question that we get, Lee, when we do events?
The biggest question we get, biggest question I got, is it going to be like what you see on Ghost Adventures?
Right.
are we going to get that much activity? Because that's what they have on TV.
Yeah, and one of the biggest questions I always get is about demons.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I'm like, I've been doing this for 25 years and I've never come across a demon. But anyway, that's my rant on Sack Baggins.
Yeah, well, I've never come across a demon either, but I mean, I'll be honest with you. You know, I am friends with a demonologist who's always going to be there if something were to ever happen, but nothing has yet. But you know, he said he has seen stuff, and I respect him for that, and I respect him for his beliefs and what he has seen and what he's accomplished. I just haven't yet.
Well, and I'm not saying that there's not nasty things out there and things that you come across that could be demonic, I guess.
Oh, I mean, we both come across stuff that are just pissed off because we were there, but you know, nothing that made me, you know, just tuck tail and run.
Right. And what I always say is that if you're an asshole in life, probably gonna be an asshole in death. I mean, you know, if your consciousness carries over, why would your personality change? If you're a fucking douchebag or a bitch in life, then why would it change when you died? You know, and you decided to stay in your home or wherever you're haunting, why would that change? And so I think that's the majority of it. It just with shows like Ghost Adventures just pisses me off because, you know, he's getting possessed in every episode and everything's demonic. And so it puts this false narrative out there that I've even had people come up to me and say they won't come to a paranormal event. They would never go ghost hunting because they're afraid to come in contact with something demonic.
Right, and it's going to make them so angry.
Yeah, or they're gonna take it home with them.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
I don't bring my work home.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't get it. So now they're gonna make this Demon House movie, which, you know, Hollywood is notorious for twisting facts and twisting around the story of what actually happened. So the water's going to get even more muddied about what actually happened to this family. I don't doubt that shit happened to this family in this house, but, you know, some crazy things happened to them. But, you know, Hollywood getting involved, Zach Baggins done muddied the water. Now Hollywood is getting involved. And so who knows? Who knows what will change?
Supposed to come out.
They just bought the rights and they just cast the movie. So probably next year or two, something like that.
I'll watch it just because I like Meryl Streep, but that's just me. But
well, I mean, it's going to be a horror movie. I mean, it's going to be like your ghost horror movies, you know, akin to like the Exorcist stuff. And I'm not saying I won't watch it because it'll probably be entertaining, especially because you got a bunch of big stars in it, a bunch of good actors, you know, like Meryl Streep and I forget who else is in it, but it's for entertainment. You know, it doesn't necessarily further the paranormal in any way, shape, or form.
Well, there's been so many recent movies that have done that same. You know, they give you a false sense of what it's about. You know, The Conjuring, Annabelle.
Yeah.
You know, they're making the movies about the legends, basically, and making, like you said, Hollywood out of them. Let me get your view on this, just because I found it kind of comical. This was posted in an article out of the United Kingdom. They were talking about Disney. They're going to redo the Haunted Mansion, right? You take a wild guess on who is going to actually be appearing in this Haunted Mansion reproduction by Disney. Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, really?
The Queen of Halloween. I mean, I can just see her and Michael Myers in this.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's a great actress. She is phenomenal. I love her. And she's done some great Halloween stuff. But I'm just thinking, her in a Disney production, I don't know. I'd have to see it.
I don't know, because I think the Haunted Mansion is probably, with all the horror movies and the paranormal stuff we have out there nowadays, it's probably a bit more childish than it was.
No, absolutely 100% is. But, you know, no, it absolutely is. And I'm not trying to put that with the paranormal, but I did find it very interesting. I really did. That Jamie Lee Curtis, the Queen of Halloween, you know, the fantasy of Michael Myers, is going to be reporting on a Disney production.
Well, I was just saying, I think they're going to make it more scary. And so maybe that's why she's going to be a part of it, that it's actually going to be, you know, up to par to what our horror movies and stuff are nowadays, instead of the childish, what we look at as childish now, but when they first built it, it wasn't childish. People were scared. You know, people had a good time going through it. But now that we got off on 8 different tangents, let's get back to the news here. There's one last article that I got that just kind of irritates me, and it just kind of pissed me off. This is from Science Daily. So these scientists went back and looked at 71 different studies that explored the links between belief in paranormal phenomena and cognitive function. And these studies have ranged from over the past 40 years. And basically, what they come to the conclusion that if you believe in the paranormal, then you are somehow mentally impaired.
I have to disagree with that.
Me too. And the authors, this is the quote from them: 4 decades of research suggests that belief in the paranormal is linked to our degree of cognitive flexibility and fluid intelligence. So, yeah, they seriously think that potential links between cognitive functioning and belief in paranormal phenomena, such as psychokinesis, hauntings, and clairvoyance, that you are somehow, something's wrong with your brain.
Yeah.
So I guess we all are cognitively impaired because there's millions of us that believe in the paranormal shit and have seen shit. So, yeah, science is basically saying that we're stupid for believing in the paranormal.
I don't know what to say that, because, I mean, that just kind of frustrates when you don't win to hear that.
Overall, the findings align with the hypothesis that beliefs in paranormal phenomena are associated with differences or deficits in cognitive function. For example, a particularly consistent association was found between paranormal beliefs and an intuitive thinking style. So basically, if you think that you're an intuitive, like I'm an empath, Lee, you're somewhat of an empath, and there's all kinds of mediums in the world, lots of other empaths that our brains are somehow broken.
I really never thought of myself as broken. I actually thought of myself as open, I guess you might call it.
Yeah, but how are you gonna come out and say that, period, people that believe in the paranormal, there's something wrong with them? Science needs to get with the times, and serious science needs to really start looking at the paranormal, because it's there. Our government just fucking come out and said that UFOs and UAPs exist, right?
Right, exactly.
Things they can't explain. So I guess we're all cognitively impaired.
Hey, did you see, talking about UFOs, and I'm going to jump down another rabbit hole. There's actually a bill in the House right now trying to be passed that's going to protect whistleblowers for UFOs.
Good.
There's actually a bill in that. Like I said, that's very recent. That was read just a couple of days ago.
Well, here this week and last week, they were doing the Senate was doing hearings on the UFOs and UAPs.
Mm-hmm.
I saw one story where some of the declassified video they put out of these triangular shaped UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, they've actually identified them. They say that they're actual drones, commercial and personal drones of people that people own. And for whatever reason, when you look through these night vision cameras, it looks like a triangle, but it's not. It's just 3 lights on a drone. Now, our government's full of shit, so I don't know if I believe that or not. I think they're just trying to satiate us and trying to make excuses for things. But I also find it interesting that there's other UAPs and UFOs that they can't explain. But it's still interesting that they're still holding hearings about the UFO phenomenon.
Right, they're holding hearings and they're passing bills. They're not letting it go as well. So whether they're trying to keep a lid on it or not, the fact that they're doing anything, I don't know. I just wish they would just blow the lid off of it, because I'd love to know what they know.
We'll never know what they know.
Oh no, absolutely not. And but I'll never quit wondering.
Well, and I think that it's just like the the stealth bomber. The stealth bomber was around 20 years before they ever let the public know about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes me wonder, what kind of fucking technology does our government have now that we don't know about, that is so far ahead of anything we've seen?
Right.
Especially with it being, like I said, with that stealth bomber, 20 years, nobody knew about it. They kept it that secret. A big fucking plane they could keep secret from the general public, and nothing got leaked about it. No pictures, no nothing, until they wanted it out there.
The flying, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And so that's also like the XR-71 Blackbird was classified for a long time before we ever knew about it. So, yeah, what kind of, and so it makes me think, my point of this is that it makes me think that some of the UAPs videos that they put out there are actually maybe technology that we have, and they're putting it out there to kind of, tantalize the Chinese and the Russians and saying they're not going to own up to it, but they put it out there and say, as a teaser to show them this is what we have now.
Yes.
In drone technology, and whether some of that technology comes from aliens or not, I don't know. I don't know if aliens are visiting. I think it's quite possible. There's too many people out there who've claimed to be abducted and had seen things, and even reports going back to like the 1800s and newspapers and things about UFOs and even going back and I think and even the ancient alien stuff I think is really interesting. And even though the dude with the crazy hair is kind of ridiculous, a lot of the stuff they say makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like them speculating all the time, but I do like that show because I think a lot of that stuff there is validity in it, as far as it possibly being some kind of contact with our ancestors, and that our ancestors knew a lot more. We think about, oh, those poor people, they didn't have computers and technology. Well, no, they're probably smarter than we are.
Well, the stories and the legends have been going on for so long, and so many people have claims of one area or another with it, to where I'm inclined to believe it. Myself personally, I'm inclined to believe it.
Right.
Because, if you're going to go by what that one scientist said, that, their brain is broken or they're stupid or they're off balance, that's a lot of crazy out there, and I just don't buy into it.
Well, like I said, then we're all fucking crazy, I guess.
Absolutely.
We all have cognitive issues with our brains, deficits,
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous. It's they're just
absolutely.
Yeah, there's some scientists I'm just like, fuck off. You're an idiot. Just because you're a scientist and studying shit doesn't mean that you know shit. It doesn't mean that you know anything. You're pretending you do.
Exactly.
But all right, well, I've had fun.
But I'll tell you what, you wrote some great stories out, some great news articles.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, there were some good ones this week, and sometimes they're on the more serious side, like today, and then sometimes they'll be more on the ridiculous side.
Well, I'm just trying to put my 2 cents in today, just to I don't know, just because I'm good at that.
Well, feel it out and kind of get used to it. I'm used to doing this, so it's a bit different for me.
No, I understand. No, like I said, I'm proud to be here, and I'm proud to be a part of this, and I look forward to many more chats and a lot more stories to come out into the future. Well, I'm always got an eye open for anything that catches my attention, like the Montgomery County, the law that's being changed. I just love that, and I'm gonna research that myself to find out why that was even enacted.
Right. Yeah, I find that interesting too.
I mean, like you said, it may be just nothing more than an overrun and great influx of that business.
Right.
But those are some pretty big stipulations for somebody to do that in Montgomery County.
Well, and a lot of those crazy ass laws come from like the 30s, 40s, not 1986.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly, and like I said, that's just intriguing as hell.
Yeah, and to everybody out there listening, if you want us to talk about any specific place or topic, shoot one of us a message on Facebook, and we will definitely talk about it next time, and look up and give you our opinions on whatever phenomena or whatever. These are, I want to say this, these are our opinions, but I've also found that in the paranormal, my views are always changing. And the more people I talk to and the more educated I get on all different types of phenomena, the more my views change. And I try to be that type of person that I'm not, especially in the paranormal, because none of us can prove any of this shit. And so we're going off our experiences and things like that. And so not saying that I flip-flop on my views and my beliefs, but I try to be flexible in them, that if I hear something that makes me go, oh, well, that makes sense.
Just open.
Yeah, just open to listening to people and also not ever telling somebody they're wrong because of an experience that they had. I don't want people telling me that I'm wrong for experiences that I've had if I tell my story, that I'm full of shit because they weren't there. And it's the same with other people's stories. I've never been abducted by an alien, and I find some of those stories ridiculous, but I'm not discounting those people,
I don't know. I'm thinking nowadays, if I were to be abducted by an alien, I think I'd call it a rescue mission.
Right. Just no anal probing will be good.
Negative. So I don't know. Anyway, on that note, I do want to throw one more thing out there. Like we were talking about before, everybody's got their paranormal story, whether they want to admit it or not. And they may say they don't believe it, and they're just, but you find them scratching their heads on some of the things they might experience or see or read or anything. To prove it best, one person that I used to work with, and I love this, I love how he put this, he says, why do you even go bother these ghosts? I'm like, well, I want to know their story. I want to know what the history of it is. He's like, well, just imagine that you're a ghost and you're sitting around in your house and somebody walks in and you just think, good God, now I got to go do some ghost shit. Here they come. You know, and I got to thinking about that. And I'm like, there may be some truth in there, but I want to know why they're there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just an amazing topic. Like you said, it can't be proven. There's no way to prove any part of it. But when you get a lot of consistency going on and a lot of the same stories, a lot of the same evidence, it really makes you wonder, and I do believe that there is something more than what we see here. And I don't know. I guess that's it. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I also have noticed that the older I get, the more I am less prone to trying to prove it to other people. I just figured out that's not my job. There's other people in the paranormal world that can try to do that and, try to scientifically advance the field.
A lot of people, they come up to me, they want to see my evidence. My evidence is, mine is on, a lot of it's on our Facebook. Like I said, Medics for Paranormal. That's the number 4, MEDICS 4, Paranormal. So feel free to go on there and, please like the page and, so you can be aware of any future updates. Because like Eric said, we're going to have some great events coming up. The 2-day event at Thomas House, I'm really excited about. That place is just a honey hole of paranormal.
No, yeah, it never disappoints.
It does not. But, I'm really looking forward to that one. And like I said, the big Paracon on October 22nd at Wilson County Fairgrounds in Lebanon, Tennessee. It's about 30 miles east of Nashville on I-40. That's going to be an amazing event. There's not been another one like that around here.
Yeah, and the closer it gets in the next few months, we'll have more and more details about other speakers and other people that are going to be there, but all kind of vendors, food vendors, and it'll just be a fun day.
And like I said, it's totally nonprofit. It's going to a paranormal location and also a senior dog sanctuary that's locally here.
Yeah, it's all going to charity, so it's all going to a good cause. Nobody's getting rich off of it at all. So,
please, I can't buy a pack of gum off of it.
Right. All right. Thank you for joining me, Lee. I look forward to our next chat.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've got lots of stuff I still want to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And we may jump down a rabbit hole. We always find our way out.
Yeah, and like I said, if anybody wants us to talk about a specific location or any specific experiences that we've had or our opinions on things, just shoot us a message, or you can shoot one of us an email. My email for the show is unseenparanormalpodcast@gmail.com. And Lee, you have an email for Medics for Paranormal as well.
Yeah, Medics for Paranormal, just MEDICS for Paranormal at gmail.com. It's the same.
Yeah, and we'll in a future show we'll talk about whatever topics I want us to and things like that. But we'll keep this going. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next week. This has been Paranormal News and Views with Eric and Lee. Have a good day.
Have a good night.
Join us next time for a new episode of The Unseen Paranormal. Until then, head over to the Unseen Paranormal Lounge on Facebook for all the latest updates and discussions about the show. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, or at unseenparanormalpodcast.com. And please rate, review, share, and subscribe to help more people discover the show. The Unseen Paranormal Podcast is proud to be the ambassador for paranormal for Verbal.com. A big thank you to my friend Chris Lips for the awesome theme music. You can find more of his music on Apple, Amazon, or Spotify. And as always, thank you for listening.
Have come to the end of the line. Whoa. I can feel you as you pass the other side.